So I used to spend about 20 minutes per invoice just copying and pasting between spreadsheets. And I was doing that for every single worker, every single month. And then you have 5 or 6 people that basically are entire afternoon gone just on invoicing. I was paying for invoicing SaaS on the top of that. And honestly, I was even using half the features. So I finally got fed up and thought, what if I just let Claude do this right inside the Excel workbook I already have. So let me show you guys what this actually looks like right now. You can see on screen, I've got plain old Excel open. In about 2 minutes, Claude is filling my invoice template and it's ready to export as a PDF. No separate invoicing source, no copy and paste marathon. Everything's happening right inside this workbook with Claude in Excel. So what we're looking at here is one template, the format sheet, bill to, from, issue date, total due, and the table for date, description, QTY, unit price, tax rate, amount, and plus subtotal, tax total, payment details, and then sitting right next to it are 2 sources sheets. One is workers. It has worker name, address, city, state, zip code, bank, branch, and account number. And the tasks has full date, on which date, and for how much. So all the data that you need for an invoice already lives in 2 sheets. And now all throwers basically open the workers and find the right person, copy their bank, and go to task table, find the right, and go to the bank account and see the bank account and copy and paste to replace this with new one. And after filling all the form, export them as a PDF. Today, Claude in Excel just read both of those sheets and fill the template in one shot. By the end of this video, you guys gonna be able to do the same thing. So let's get started. So here's the plan. So you know exactly what we are going. So first, we're gonna talk about why the manual flow is such a time sink. Because I think a lot of you guys can relate to this, especially if you are freelancing or running a small team. Then I've given you a super quick primer on and what Claude in Excel actually is and how you access it, because I know not everyone has used it before. And after that, I will show you the exact 3 sheets you need. These sheets are depending on what you want to do. In this video, I prepare format, workers, task sheets, and I walk through what each one looks like. And then the big part, we'll do a live build where I show Claude prompts. It fills the entire invoice for me. I will show the exact prompt I use, what Claude does with it, and what the output actually looks like. And after the demo, we'll close with some advice tip and what we learn from actually using this every month. The current limits of Claude in Excel, so you know what to expect and how not to break things. By then, you'll have everything you need to go automate your own invoice right after this video. So if you've done invoices by hand, you know exactly what we are talking about. What I'm talking about, right? You open the worksheets, you hunt for the right person, and then copy their name, their address, their bank account into the template. And you have to get the bank details exactly right, because if your bank name, branch, account type, or bank or account number is wrong, the payment is not going through. So you're double checking every single field. Then you jump over to the task sheets and you filter that workers tasks and you start copying date, description, UTY, unit price, task, amount into the table one by one. Honestly, this part takes me like 10 minutes if the person has a lot of tasks, because you are going line by line, make sure you didn't skip a row, making sure the amount are right, make sure the dates match. It's kind of work where one long cell can throw off your entire total. Then you export it as a PDF with line file name, something like invoice worker name, January, blah, blah, blah. So you can actually find it later. Now it sounds manageable when it's just one voice, right? But when you have to do this for 5 or 6 people, suddenly you have spending an entire afternoon on it, and you are making mistakes. Wrong worker, wrong task role, wrong amount, wrong bank account. I actually once sent an invoice with wrong bank details because I copied from the wrong role in the worker sheets, and I have to send the correct to the client, which is super embarrassing. And honestly, this kind of mistake that makes you look unprofessional, even though it's just copy and paste error. And that's the moment I thought, okay, there has to be a better way. I always pay for SaaS tool, but I still have to manually enter every single anyway. So what's the point? And that's when I started using Claude in Excel to just do all of this in one shot. The data is already in my workbook, so I'm copying and pasting it by hand. So why am I copying and pasting it by hand? Claude in Excel is basically AI assistant that lives right inside your spreadsheet. You open the Claude sidebar in Excel from here, and you can just talk it in natural language. You tell it what you want, and it actually understands your columns, your data, and even the patterns in how your sheets are structured. It's kind of like having a really fast bookkeeper sitting right next to you who already knows where everything is in your workbook and process hundreds of rows without making a single typo. Now this is different from writing formulas or macros. With formulas, you have to know, ask, or search. And with macros, you are basically coding in VBA. But with Claude in Excel, you just describe what you want in normal words. You can say, take this person's task and put them in the voice template, and it just does it. You don't have to write any code, you don't have to run any special syntax. So this workflow specifically, Claude reads the worker sheet and the task sheet and fills the format sheet with the right worker and the right tasks, right amounts, and the right bank details. All without you ever running Excel. You stay in one place the whole time, and the Claude handles all tedious data movement. Now, I think I do want to mention this, that you need a Claude Pro or Max plan to use this. The free tier doesn't give you access to Claude in Excel. But honestly, if you are doing invoices regularly, the time saving alone more than pays for subscriptions. I was spending probably more than 5 hours or 5 hours a month on invoicing, and now it takes me around 10 minutes for everything. So that must work out pretty quickly. Alright, so let me show you how I set up my workbook. Not every company and every freelancer is gonna have different situation, different invoice formats, different data they track. So yours might look a little different from mine. But you separate your source data from your invoice template, and then Claude connects the two. So let me walk you through what I did, and you can adapt it to your own setup. In my case, I have one workbook with 3 tabs. And honestly, if you already have some kind of invoice spreadsheet, you probably have most of this in some form already. So first tab is what I call is format. This is the invoice template. This is the sheet that becomes actually PDF I send to the client. I got the bill to at the top for the company names and address, and then from with worker's name, the total issue date, and below that bank detail and payment details, and the main body is a table with columns for date, description, QTY, unit price, tax rate, and amount, with subtotal tax at the bottom. Now the key thing is that it's just a template, meaning it's a laid out way I want the final invoice to look. Claude fills in this data but keep the layout exactly as is. Your template might have different fields or different layout. That's totally fine. As long as you tell Claude where to put things, it will work. The second tab is I call workers. In my case, that this is the direction of everyone who works with me. Each row is one person, is a worker's name, address, city, state, zip code, bank name, branch, or something like this. All the identity and payment info for each person lives here in one place. And now you might call this sheet something different, maybe contractors, teams, or vendors. And your columns might be different too. Like maybe you don't need city, state, zip, or maybe you have additional fields like tax ID. The point is that you have a one place where all the people info lives, so Claude can pull it from it instead of you looking it up every time. And then the third type is what I call tasks. This is where companies track what workers were done. The column is task ID, client ID, worker, date, description, QT price, unit price, task rate, and amount. Every time someone completes a task, I log it here. Your version of this might be time log, a project tracker, a deliverable list, whatever makes sense for your business. Important thing is that work items and their cost sheets that Claude can read and filter. So that's my setup. The concept is simple. People data in one sheet, and the work data in another, and the invoice template waiting to be filled. If you are starting from scratch, you can set something like this. Once it's set up, you basically never have to restructure. You just keep adding workers and tasks as they come in, and Claude handles the assembly. Your sheets might have different names, different columns, different structures, but as long as Claude knows where to look at and where to put things, and the same approach works. Alright, so now the main part, actual automation. You can see the workbook on screen right here. You've got format, tasks, and workers. I'm gonna walk you through so you can follow. So first thing I'm gonna do this, tell Claude who to invoice. I'm on tasks sheet right now, and I can see we've got branch of tasks for different workers. So let's say I want to invoice Thomas Reed, and I'm gonna do this, open up the Claude sidebar from here. I'm just gonna describe what I need. Now I could say something like simple, create an invoice for Thomas Reed, but I've learned from experience that the more detail you give Claude, the better results. If you are too vague, it might miss a column or put things in the wrong section. So I like to be really specific about where to pull the data from and where to put it. Here's the exact prompt I'm gonna drop in. Like using worker sheets and task sheets, fill the format sheets, which name is Thomas Reed's. From workers, use the worker's name, address, and the bank account, bank name, branch, bank account type, bank account number. In the from section, take all the tasks for the workers and put each one into table, date, description, QTY, unit price, task, rate, amount. Set the issue date so the format is ready to export as a PDF. And just click this button. Okay, I'm gonna do ahead and send it off, and let's watch what Claude does. You can see it's now reading the format template first, and then read date and read workers data, read tasks data, and read exact names, Thomas Reed sheets, and putting all of them into the table. And you can see the whole table is getting filled this dates and description, what was done, the quantities, unit prices, tax rate, the amounts. And it even calculates the total and the task at the bottom. This is a part that used to take me like 20 minutes of carefree copying and pasting, and Claude just did it in about 30 seconds. Super cool, right? Let me just quickly scroll through and verify the bank details looks correct, the task dates match, the amount are right. One thing I always do, just quickly eyeball the total to make sure it makes sense. And it does, so we are good. So let me just quickly scroll through the verify the bank detail looks correct, Thomas Reed, And the bank detail is his bank is US bank, the branch is 13, checking, number is 554321, blah blah blah. Let me go back to the workers table. Thomas Reed. See, US bank 13 branch, checking 5543210987. And all information are correct. And now let me also point out something like I think is really important. You can see the Claude kept the layout of the format sheets exactly the same it was. It didn't move any cells around, it didn't change the formatting, it just filled in the data. And that's because we told it to fill the format sheets, not redesign it. That distinction matters. And I want to be honest with you guys here, because I actually tried a completely different approach first. My original idea was to have Claude copy the entire format sheets, design and all, cell size, borders, layout, the whole thing, and create a branch new sheets for each worker with the data swapped in. So basically Claude would duplicate the template, keep all the visual design intact, and just replace the content. That would have been super cool, right? One command and you get the brand new fully designed invoice sheet per person. But here's the thing, Claude in Excel right now cannot really do the same kind of cell level design work. It can read your data, it understands your columns, your values, it can write and replace content, no problem. But when it comes to things like cell width, border styles, merged cells, the actual visual layout, it cannot copy all of the over a new sheets. It doesn't sheet design the way you and I see it on screen. So try and get Claude to full look of sheets just doesn't work yet. So the approach that actually works right now is this. You prepare design yourself like this. You set up the template once, get it looking exactly the way you wanna, with all the borders and the cell size and formatting. Then you just let Claude replace the content inside it. That's exactly why we set up format sheet manually in the setup step. The design part is on you. The data part is on Claude. Honestly, the split works really well. Now here's what I genuinely believe. I wouldn't say this if I didn't think it was true. The limitation is temporary. Claude's capability inside Excel was improving super fast. I think it's only a matter of time, but before it can handle full design work, copying layouts, setting cell formats, the whole thing. When the day comes, you'll be able to say, create a new sheet that looks exactly like format and fill it with Thomas Reed, and it will just do everything. So if you're building your workbook structure right now, you are actually getting ready for the future too. The setup you create today is gonna work even better once you can handle the visual side as well. So once that's done, I'm gonna export this as a PDF. You entirely use Excel format export, which file export, create PDF, or if you are not sure how to do that, you can just ask Claude, how do I export this as a PDF? Let me just open PDF real quick. You can see what it looks like. Bill to from issue date and total due, and the data table, payment details, notes. What invoice start and finish in about around 2 minutes. And the first time I did, it was like kind of shocked because I was so used to 20 minutes version. Alright, so now let me share a few things I've learned from actually using this over the past couple of weeks, and that will make it way more reliable for you guys. The first time I tried this, it wasn't perfect, and I have to figure out some things along the way. Number one, be explicit in prompt. Tell Claude exactly which columns to use and which section to fill. Don't just say, make an invoice. Say from workers, use this person name, address, the bank account, and from sections, from tasks, take all the tasks for the person, fill the table. More specific you are, the better output. And honestly, once you write the good prompt once, you save it and reuse forever. And number 2, keep sheet structure stable. This is a big one. If you keep renaming columns or moving things or adding new columns in random places, you are basically forcing Claude to relearn the layout every single time. That's just going to cause problems. So pick your columns name once, stick with them. Don't reorganize the structure unless you really have to. Claude works best when the environment is predictable. Number 3, standardize payment terms. Pick 1 or 2 patterns like end of a month or 14 days after invoice date and have Claude use the same one every time so it's not guessing. You can even put the payment terms in the prompt itself, like set the due date to 30 days from the issue date. That way, every invoice comes out with the same terms. There's no confusion for us. Number 4, handle currency and tax clearly. If you are working across different currency or different tax rates, put that explicitly in the sheet. I have a tax rate columns, so each task can have its own rate if you need it. And in the prompt, I tell Claude to respect whatever tax rate is in there rather than assuming a default. This way, if you have mix of tax and untaxed items, Claude handle it correctly. Number 5, always check before sending. Even with all of this automation, I still skim the invoice before I export the PDF. It's really tempting to just fire it off because the whole point is to save time, but Claude can occasionally misread a cell, put the task in the wrong row. It saved me 80% to 90% of work, but I keep the final control, and honestly, it just gives me a peace of mind. Think of it like having an assistant prepare a document for you. You still read it before you sign it. And last thing is fix mistakes in conversation. You know what to do when it gets wrong because it will happen eventually. Maybe Claude put the bank account from wrong worker or it missed a task. When that happens, don't start over from scratch. Just tell Claude what went wrong in the same conversation. Hey, you use the wrong bank account. This should be a Canadian bank, not just an American bank. Or you miss a task from January 15th, can you add it? Claude can usually fix it on the spot without you having a review. This back and forth is actually one of the most powerful parts because you are correcting in natural language instead of hunting through cells yourself. Now there are few limits you should know about. You are not caught off guard. Claude Access session can get kind of heavy and cut off sometimes, especially you are going back and forth for a long time or working with really large dataset. If that happens, just start fresh chart. Give a Claude brief recap or what you are doing. I'm creating invoices from workers and task sheets into format sheets and pick up where you left off. It's a little annoying, but it's not a deal breaker. Also, Claude cannot actually see your visual formatting. It knows your data and your columns header, but it doesn't know things like cell width, border styles, or font size. So if your invoice template has specific look, tell Claude specifically, keep the existing layout exactly, only replace the data, or set this column to width 15. Use 15 pt bold for the header, just adding the one line like do not change any formatting, only fill the data cells. At the end of the prompt, prevent most layout issues. And one more thing, big layout changes or really complex formatting requests can sometimes feel a little slower than just doing it in Excel yourself. So I use Claude for the data work, which is where the biggest time saving are. And I handle any visual tweaks manually. that split works very well for. That split works really well for me. Alright, so let me do a quick recap of everything we covered today. We've got one workbook with 3 tabs: format, which is your invoice template; workers, with your company's employee list with bank information; and task, which is your task with your company's employees' task logs. The old way was opening workers and tasks, copying and pasting every field into format one by one, double-checking the bank details and exporting the PDF. And you were doing that for every single person and every single month. The new way is you just tell Claude who to invoice. It reads both source sheets and fills the format in one shot with right person. What used to take me? The right task, the right amounts, the right bank account, then you just export the PDF. One prompt, that's the whole system. What used to take me 20 minutes per invoice now take me about 2 minutes. And I don't have to worry about pasting the wrong bank account or missing the task row anymore. Over a month with 5 or 6 invoices, that's going from about 2 hours down or maybe 10 minutes. And the quality is actually more consistent because Claude doesn't get tired at 11 p.m. on the last day of that last month. So if you're already living Excel for your work, you don't need to sign up for some template invoicing SaaS and migrate all your data over there. You can just add Claude to workflow you already have, and it honestly works really well. Your data stays in your workbook, your templates stay the way you like them, and Claude just handles tedious part. Let me know in the comment which back office task you guys want automated next, because I'm planning to do more of these: expense reports, project tracking, client onboarding. There's a lot of stuff you can do with the same pattern of source sheets plus template plus Claude. And if you find this video helpful, please put like and subscribe this channel. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.